Welcome to the Education Exchange. I am your host, Jeremy Kyla, Superintendent of the Tolleson Union High School District, here where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students. And our guest today is Kyla from NAU. Kyla, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes. Hello. I'm so thrilled to be here today. Thank you so much, Superintendent Cayes, for your introduction. My name is Kyla Timmons. I am the Assistant Director of Phoenix and Tucson Recruitment for Northern Arizona University, regionally based down here in the Phoenix area, and thrilled to be serving many, many different school districts within the Phoenix area as well as Tucson. So yeah, go Jacks.
All right. So I saw that you threw up the LJ there. So that's a symbol for all the NAU Lumberjacks out there?
Yes, it is. So similar to our sister schools, ASU and U of A, we do have our own hand signs as well. So
Nice.
ours, we're throwing up our LJs all the time. And what that really looks like, for those of you who can see me, we're throwing up an L and a J with both of our hands. So
Well, over here in Tolleson, we have our own LJ, but that's La Jolla High School. So La Jolla Community High School might share the LJ with you. Maybe they can make that transition from La Jolla out to being a lumberjack, and they never have to lose the LJ. So that'd be great.
absolutely. Yep. Throwing up their LJs for life, right?
So let's talk about all the great things over at NAU. I want to kick it off. I want to know, what's your top five? Top five reasons why students should choose NAU, what they should love about NAU, what they want to know about NAU. What would be your top five? Let's hit it away with number five.
Number five. Okay. Well, there's a lot of good things to say about why someone should choose NAU. And I could honestly talk about it all day. But my top five here, first and foremost, I would say the scenic campus and location. So that might be my number one, but we're just going to go ahead and go through each individually. But scenic campus location is probably one of the biggest reasons that I personally chose NAU as a student back in the day. I was a transfer student. I'm actually from Southern California, born and raised. And I ended up choosing NAU because I wanted something a little bit different than where I grew up. And where I grew up, it was kind of similar in climate to Phoenix, a little bit hot. We had the ocean right next to us. That was great, and I absolutely loved it, don't get me wrong. But I really wanted to see what else was out there. And the very first time I heard about Flagstaff, I was like, wait a second, it snows in Arizona? What? I had no idea. So, of course, I had to get out to the mountains to go and see this beautiful campus, see the surrounding areas, and all of the fun things to do around there as well. And so when I first stepped foot on campus, I remember just being absolutely in love with the environment that was around me. All the time, you have this beautiful picturesque view of the peaks behind you, pretty much every single spot that you're at on campus. Within about a 5 to 10 minute walk of campus, there's several different city parks, beautiful locations to just go and hang out and enjoy your day. And then, of course, we have Arizona Snow Bowl up there, right in between the two San Francisco peaks. So if you enjoy things like winter sports, skiing, snowboarding, just being outside in general, there's a lot of different ways to get out and enjoy that natural beauty. So whether it be at Snow Bowl, skiing or snowboarding, whether it be taking a hike during the midday just to, get some stress out of you, whether it be just taking a walk after classes at our local city park, you're always going to be surrounded by beauty. Additionally, I mentioned the snow. So that is something I never experienced before in my life. And it snows quite a bit in Flagstaff, if you all are not aware. We usually get about 100 inches of snowfall every single year. So we're one of the top 10 snowiest cities in the whole U.S. I'd never really seen snowfall before I came to NAU, and it was quite the experience when I did actually experience my first snow, and I'll never forget it. So having those 4 beautiful seasons with the snowfall for winter, having all of these specific things that you can do outside of the classroom and the city limits, really drew me to attend NAU as a student. So I would say number one, again, scenic campus and location.
Well, as we get into so NAU's calling card then, when you're over there and you're with the other big universities, is as soon as the students line up, all you have to tell them is, "Do you want to build a snowman?" And you'll get all the frozen fans will start working their way over to NAU. All right, let's go ahead and hit them with the number 4 now. What's number 4 reasons why you should go out to NAU and go be a lumberjack?
I would say number 4 should be some of our diverse academic programs. So we are a public university. We're one of the 3 in the state of Arizona. We are kind of the smallest public university out of the 3. We are by no means small, though. So we do have about 20,000 students total at our Flagstaff campus. And we also do have statewide campuses as well. And within all of those campuses, there are over 100 different bachelor's degree programs that students can pursue in so many different subjects. So some things that NAU is really well known for are things like business, engineering, education in particular, health sciences, arts. We also have one of the only forestry programs in the state of Arizona, being that we're surrounded by the largest contiguous ponderosa pine forest in the world. And we also do have the only hotel restaurant management program as well that's focused on hospitality and leadership within hospitality, as well as dental hygiene. So we're one of the, I think, the only state school that offers a dental hygiene bachelor's degree program. So you can really find anything that you're wanting to study at NAU, and some very specific programs that are only offered at NAU within the state of Arizona as well, if that is the career that you're wanting to pursue.
So a lot of different options out there in the forest. And yes, down here in the valley, we don't see the snow or the forest as much as you see up there in lumberjack country. But what's the number 3 reason why you're destined to be a lumberjack?
Number 3, I would say research opportunities. So when I say research opportunities, not everybody is going to participate in that, and that is absolutely okay. But if you are somebody who is wanting to pursue, let's say, a medical career, maybe potentially attending medical school, or pursuing a really competitive graduate program, or going into a field in which that research experience is going to help you out or is required, we offer tons and tons of undergraduate research opportunities. And what I mean by undergraduate is students who are pursuing their bachelor's degree, right? So at a lot of other universities, research opportunities are really meant for folks who are graduate students or postdoc students. And at NAU, we really commit to having these undergraduate research opportunities for our undergraduate students in particular, so that they can really make sure that they have what they need under their belt for their future endeavors. So whether it be, again, graduate school, medical school, a really competitive job market that they're trying to get into, those research opportunities are absolutely fantastic to have under your belt.
So as they're doing their research on what college or university to attend, their research should lead them to the fact that you have research opportunities for those undergrad students.
Yes.
That sounds fantastic. What about your number 2 reason to go be a lumberjack?
My number 2 is the supportive community that NAU has to offer. So one of the other big reasons that I chose NAU as a student was the supportive community that I found around me when I visited for the first time, and also throughout my journey as I was applying, as I was looking into financial aid opportunities, and then ultimately as I enrolled, right? So we're really all about fostering a supportive and inclusive community for all students at NAU. You'll find very, very robust support resources that we have to offer. For example, if you are a first-generation college student, which means that you're the first person in your family to pursue that 4-year bachelor's degree, that's about 48% of our students at NAU. So about half of our student population are the first in their family to pursue that bachelor's degree. So with that, we have our wonderful Office of First Gen programs that works to support first gen students through basically when they start applying to NAU and actually enrolling the summer before, all the way up until they graduate and beyond. So there's 3 specific offices within our First Gen Programs office that work to support students at each level that they're attending NAU, whether it be from the start all the way up until the end. We have over 350 clubs and organizations as well on campus for students to get connected with each other based on their similar interests. We also do have academic advising, tutoring resources, and then also mental health resources as well. So if you're ever struggling with anything academic, personal, whatever may be happening, it's a really good opportunity to go and talk with folks that can have your best interest in mind and can really get you connected with other people or resource offices that you might need. It's a very, very inclusive and supportive environment is my point.
So a ton of additional supports, 350 clubs. That sounds amazing. I mean, at some point, somebody had to go start a new club, and they're like, you guys already got it all covered. Let's just make a club about making a club.
Yeah, you might as well.
That's a lot of clubs, 350 clubs. All right, let's get to your number 1 reason that you're destined to be a lumberjack is...
Well, this might not be my number one, but it is definitely my top 5 is our global learning experiences. So what I mean by that is our study abroad programs. So I would say all of you listening who have a general interest in study abroad should absolutely pursue it if that is something that, again, that you're wanting to do. It's not required to go and study abroad when you're studying at NAU, but it is a really great opportunity to go out and see the world, spend some time in a different culture for a little bit, learn the language, really enhance your studies as well, and then come back to NAU and ultimately finish out your bachelor's degree. So you can go study abroad at NAU for anywhere from a week all the way up to a whole year, if that is something that you're wanting to do. The year program in particular is called the Interdisciplinary Global Program. It's called IGP for short. And that is where you can go abroad to another country for an entire year. You study at a different university that we are partnered with during that time, so you're not falling behind on your degree program. And then at the same time, you're also doing a semester-long internship during that year as well in your specific field that you're studying, so that you can look into specific opportunities for jobs or job prospects once you graduate from the university. Additionally, with that program, you do end up earning 2 bachelor's degrees. So one in your specific field that you originally started with, and the other one in a second language or a cultural studies area. So it's a really cool program to get you to go abroad for an entire year. Again, see a different culture. Really experience what life is like outside of the U.S., not fall back on your degree program, and get an internship done and 2 bachelor's degrees as well. So we have tons of other opportunities as well, so you don't have to do the IGP program and study abroad for a whole year. As I mentioned, you can go for a week anytime during the summer, let's say. We have faculty-led programs. We have exchange programs. We have programs that we partner with that send students all over the world. And yeah, like I would say study abroad is
so all over the world. So are these like, really nice destinations? Are we talking like Paris, Rome?
Yes, we are. We are.
Bahamas?
Yes, we've sent students to over 100 different countries. So really, like anywhere that a student wants to study, we have a study abroad office through our Center for International Education that will work with students one-on-one to figure out what plan works best for them, depending on where they would like to go, depending on what they would like to study. We routinely add more and more programs every single year as a part of that, because we have students that want to, go to different places that we've never offered before. So if you have a specific country in mind and you want to visit, you should definitely work with our Center for International Education, because they will absolutely take care of you, work with you one-on-one, and really figure out a plan for you moving forward.
So did you have students studying in France during the Olympics? So you could have had, as we're watching the Olympics on TV, that could have been some of your students standing there in a crowd cheering some people on.
It very well could have been, yes. We actually do have 4 Olympic athletes competing this year in the Paris Olympics, which is also very exciting as well. So I just like to brag about that just a little bit.
Wow, that is very exciting. So 4 NAU students are competing in the Olympics?
They are, yes. 2 former and I believe 2 current. So
nice.
Yes.
All right. Well, we know, when you're looking at going to a big university, all those opportunities are wonderful. But one of the first things that parents worry about is how much is all this opportunity going to cost? So let's break down what does it look like financing an education over at NAU?
That's a great question. This question is routinely what I usually get from parents and students, as well as the counselors that I work with as well, as they help their students and their parents navigate this process. So we know the cost of a college education has gone up quite a bit over the last decade or so. So I encourage people not to be discouraged by the price tag that you are seeing when you're looking up our cost of attendance at really any in-state university. The reason being, there are financial aid options, of course, to help make sure that you're not paying that price tag out of pocket every single year. So first and foremost, the way that we help with the affordability aspect is we do give automatic merit-based scholarships to all of our incoming first-year students. As long as you are admitted to NAU, you are going to receive an automatic merit-based scholarship from us. What that looks like is it very much depends on your unweighted GPA and some very specific core classes that we use for admission purposes. And depending on what that GPA is upon admission, that will determine what kind of scholarship you receive. So we have full tuition scholarships. We also have all the way down to $2,500 a year. It just kind of depends on what your specific GPA is. But also, I would highly recommend that you make sure to complete the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. That will allow you the opportunity to be reviewed for more financial aid beyond just that automatic merit-based scholarship, right? That automatic merit-based scholarship is great because it helps to cover maybe potentially your full tuition or a portion of your tuition. But what about things like housing and meal plan and books and all of the costs that come with going to a university, especially when that's about 2.5 hours away, right? So those are also things to consider. But when you do the FAFSA, we're going to consider you for even more financial aid to help cover those direct costs that I just mentioned, things like housing, meal plan, books. Those are things that you can't really get out of paying as a college student. So that is what the FAFSA is designed to help with. We do have a very specific financial aid program called the Access to Excellence program. That is a financial aid program designed for Arizona residents. And what it entails, if your family income, as demonstrated on the FAFSA, is $65,000 or below, we will ensure that your tuition and fees are covered from year to year, as long as your FAFSA remains with that specific income from year to year. So what that looks like is we're going to use your scholarship, of course, but we are also going to use the Pell Grant, which you will likely qualify for, as well as additional university grants to make sure that your tuition and fees are covered until everything is covered, so that when you really look at your financial aid package, there's only a few other expenses that you have to pay for the year. So we want to cover as much as we possibly can if you are eligible for that program. And I always encourage people to get their FAFSA done as early as possible so that we can make sure to consider you as well.
Well, it sounds like a lot of great options there, and especially looks tailored to work with families of all income levels, where even if your income is lower, that there's more financial aid available for you then to make it more affordable. And really importantly, I want to make sure that I highlight, especially for any of our freshmen that are listening, you talked about the merit-based scholarship. So it pays for them to be good students for us. So it'll be more affordable for them to go be a student of yours after they've kept that high GPA and done well here at Tolleson. They'll go off to NAU and it'll be even more affordable with some of those merit-based scholarships.
Absolutely. And they're renewable for all 4 years. So keep that in mind. As soon as you earn that merit-based scholarship, it's going to continue to follow you up until you graduate, which should take you about 4 years. So you'll have that scholarship from year to year, as long as you're maintaining at least a 2.0 NAU cumulative GPA. So
nice.
Yes.
Now, are there any other perks to being a lumberjack? Now, in your top 5, I'll tell you, I was waiting with bated breath for you to throw out there that every lumberjack gets free pancakes. I don't know if that's an urban legend or if that's just a rumor I'm starting, but I was assuming that, if you're a lumberjack, there's like some free pancakes in the deal, that maybe there would be a partnership with IHOP or Denny's or something. Like, are there any extra perks to being a lumberjack?
Well, we also have free tree cutting classes.
Oh, wow.
I'm just kidding. That's not a thing. But
see, I would have believed it because
I can think off the top of my head, we do, because of our unique location, as I mentioned, we're up in, the mountains and the forest, and we have snowball. We do offer things like snowboarding and skiing classes that are actually paid for with your NAU tuition. So if you do have, again, a merit-based scholarship from us, that can be used to help cover your tuition to take those classes, which I think is fabulous. But yeah, I mean,
I could have used some of those classes. I've tried snowboarding up at a snowball before. I looked at it. I was like, how hard can this be, really? The moment that I had crossed over some caution tape that you guys had out there on snowball, I thought maybe this was a bad idea. And I face planted myself into the snow because I figured the caution tape was there for a reason, and I was probably going into an area I wasn't supposed to go to. So definitely good that you guys have a way for them to get some free classes so they can enjoy all of that snow and get out there and do some of those winter activities that us from the valley don't necessarily get to participate in unless we go visit you up north.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Absolutely.
Anything else that our parents, our students should know, challenges wise or opportunities wise when they're considering NAU?
I would say the biggest challenge is probably financial aid. That's usually what I hear. Another big challenge that I hear is, my baby is leaving my home for the first time. And they're going really far away, right? They're going 2.5 hours away from where we're living down here. How am I going to see them? So rest assured, like, yes, it's really, really hard for your student or your child to leave the nest and go out to a faraway university. However, we're not too far away, right? So we're only about 2.5 hours, about 120 miles or so, just directly up the 17 and back. I would recommend, if you want to come home for the weekend to see your family, to do laundry or get a home cooked meal. Like, those are things that are easily done. Or if parents, you want to come up and see your child up at NAU and see how they're doing. It's a pretty easy drive away. And it'd be really nice to go out and see, again, maybe the snow, depending on the season that you're visiting, or to escape the heat just a little bit, as we have our beautiful seasons up there. And we're going to be transitioning to fall pretty soon.
That's a perfect combination. You are far enough for a student to start gaining their independence, to start making that transition to becoming an adult, but still close enough that if the homesickness ever hits, it's not a plane ticket. It's a quick drive just to be back home and be with your family again. It's actually like just the right distance. It's not as far as dealing with if you're in an out-of-state college and you're having to worry about booking plane tickets and whether or not, there's another crowd strike shortage that's making all the flights go crazy.
Yep.
It's just a quick drive away. So no, that's great that NAU's right at that perfect spot.
Absolutely. Another thing too for parents, we do have parent weekends that happen throughout each semester. So usually in the fall, it's around our homecoming week. For our homecoming week, we have a parade in downtown Flagstaff. There's a lot going on that weekend, but it's family weekend as well. So we usually have different events that are planned all throughout the weekend for students and their families to engage in, really get to know the university, get to know their resources, what their students doing from day to day, things like that. So look out for that as well. If you are an NAU parent, that should be coming up in October.
Now, is there anything extra cool about that parade? So like instead of the floats, traveling on a street by wheels, are they coming down the mountain on snowboards? And no,
that
not
would
yet.
Be great.
It's a good thing I'm not over there at NAU. I'd probably come up with some of these crazy ideas that are definitely not safe.
Yeah.
But would sound fun just on paper.
I don't know if it's possible to do that, but that would be a really fun thing to watch if everybody could just gather at Snow Bowl and do that. But no, it's very much just down, the street. There's some, traditional historic kind of stuff from the early days of Flagstaff that, are paraded down the street with all of the floats and things. All of the NAU student organizations are out there highlighting what they do. So it's just a really fun time to celebrate not only NAU, but the city of Flagstaff that we're so much embedded in as well.
Now, about the city of Flagstaff, I know they run a higher minimum wage. I don't know if it's like $50 an hour now or how high they've gotten it, but they run a higher minimum wage than the rest of the state. How easy is it for students at NAU to get jobs there locally with that higher? And exactly do you know how high that minimum wage has gotten up to now?
The last time I checked, it was about $17.50 per hour. So that's a little bit more, I believe, than down here in the Phoenix area and the rest of the state, which is great. I will share that Flagstaff does tend to have a little bit higher of a cost of attendance because, as I mentioned, it's scenic, it's beautiful, it has great weather. Typically, the high in the summertime is around 95 degrees at the highest, so you're never really going to see over 100-degree days. So because of that, because of the beauty, because of the weather, it does tend to be a little bit more expensive to live there, right? Not to say that living on campus is more expensive at all, and we can talk about that in just a little bit too. But yes, the minimum wage is about $17.50. Our students are paid at that wage should they want to work on campus as well. Some student worker positions start you at that wage. Some of them start a little bit higher. It just kind of depends on the experience that job is looking for. But being a student worker is really great on campus, I would say. I myself was a student worker back in the day. I worked in the admissions office, actually. I worked in the call center.
So you haven't gone far.
I have not.
That's how much you loved it.
I really, really enjoyed my experience. And I share that with students a lot because some people are like, oh, do I want to get a job on campus? Do I want to get a job off campus? Do I want a job at all? I would say if you're looking for a job on campus is definitely where you should be starting. Because first and foremost, our employer would be NAU, right? And they treat us as a student before they treat us as a worker, usually. So what that means is that if you have homework, let's say, that you need to complete, or a big presentation coming up that you need to prepare for, or a big exam, it's study week for finals, let's say, If you're slow at work because things are slowing down for the summer, whatever it may be, there's an opportunity sometimes to sit and study and make sure that you're getting your homework done at your job. We cap students at 20 hours per week as well for working. We don't want you to be too overworked as a student worker because your studies and your classes always will come first in our mind. So tons and tons of opportunities. I think we have about 1,500 different student worker positions opening every single year. And usually they'll open in the summer before fall starts. So around August or so, which is where we're at right now. If you're coming in for fall 2024, that would be the time to start looking for those specific opportunities. And again, there are so many different things you can do. You can work in a residence hall and be a CA, for example, a community assistant. You could work at a dining hall and serve food. You can work at a dean's office and work at the front desk. You could work as a lifeguard at the pool. There are so many different things that students can do, whether it be on campus or even off. Something else worth mentioning is that if you complete the FAFSA, which we talked about earlier, there are opportunities for federal work study as well. And that is great because what it allows you to do is be paid for your work as a student worker, and it will allow you to either save that money or give it back towards the expenses that you owe the university. So it's a form of financial aid that you can apply for, which is awesome.
So I know you wanted to also touch on housing. So how does it look at NAU? Do you require freshmen to stay on campus, or how affordable is the housing off campus compared to on campus?
Great question. Yeah. So we do not require students to live on campus. So whether they are first year incoming students, whether they are seniors, whether they're graduate students, we don't require anybody to live on campus. I will share, though, that about 90% of our incoming first year students do live on campus. So we do see that students do a little bit better academically, socially, mentally, kind of all across the board well-being. Sorry. If they are living on campus during their first year, the reason for that is because they get a lot more connected to the university environment around them, right? So really every single resource that you need to be a successful college student and a successful person from day to day, to have the best well-being possible is going to be right outside of your front door. So for example, your professor's offices to go and talk to them during their office hours, your library to go and study and do your homework and print things, your dining hall, which is usually right outside of your front door, depending on where you're living on campus, of course, or any other kind of restaurant, right? Also, things like our HLC, which is our Health and Learning Center. That's our big scale gym that we have on campus. It's great. It has a 3-story rock wall. It's all indoors. It has an indoor running track, 6 racquetball courts, 2 basketball courts. It's really great. But yeah, so really like all of those specific resources to guide you in your academics and also just in your day-to-day life are going to be right there for you. You also become a lot more connected to the students that are around you when you're living on campus. So it kind of just happens organically, especially when you're an incoming first-year student. What I like to share with students is that when you're coming into a university and, this is the first time that maybe you're going from your family, you don't know what to expect. Everybody around you is kind of in the same boat in some way, shape, or form, right? So everybody's kind of really seeking that connection. Because this is a new experience for everybody. You're in a new environment. You're living by yourself for the first time. Most people, you're away from your family, your friends. You're kind of having to start all over in a new place. Everybody else around you feels the exact same way. So it's just a gentle reminder, that that's going to happen. You might feel that way when you do make that transition to NAU. But ultimately, it's going to be okay. And everybody's in the same boat. And everybody's really seeking that connection. And it becomes a lot more authentic and organic to start making friends and really finding those connections on campus.
So it sounds like great options for living on or off campus, but when we get to the affordability of those options, what does that look like? Are there different scholarships available to help with those housing costs?
Yeah, great question. So we currently have a little over 20 different first-year residence halls on campus. And then we also do have some upper division halls as well. We don't really limit where students particularly live. So what that means is that it's kind of first come, first serve for everybody. Yes, there are halls that are more designated to first-year students, and yes, there are halls that are more designated to upper division students. But for the most part, anybody can really live wherever they would like to on campus. How it works is we'll open our housing application usually in November of the year prior. And that's when students can start applying for housing for the upcoming year. And that housing application will stay open for the entire year up until we hit capacity. So it really depends on where you live, depending on the cost, right? So some of our first year residence halls, I would say, have the lowest cost. As of right now, those are $6,444 for the year. So for the academic year. Something to note, though, is that if you do live on campus as a first-year student, it is required to purchase a meal plan. So the meal plan, it's basically a designated amount of meals that are assigned to you for each week of the entire semester. And you can do a 10 meal per week option, 14 meal per week option, 19 meal per week option, all the way up to an unlimited meal plan, which means as many meals as you would like throughout the week. Those do range in value as well. So usually the ones that are less meals per week are going to be a little bit less expensive than the ones that are unlimited, let's say. To cover these costs, we do have other opportunities. So I mentioned the Access to Excellence program that helps to cover tuition and fees. We also have the merit-based scholarships that help to cover tuition as well. But oftentimes what happens is if you do qualify for something like Access to Excellence, let's say, we oftentimes will give you a little bit more on top of what's covered through tuition and fees to help cover portions of housing as well as your meal plan. Additionally, there are other scholarships that are both within NAU and outside of NAU that you can apply for as well. So these are not automatic scholarships, as I mentioned, the merit-based ones are. Instead, they are scholarships that students have to apply for on their own. So seek out, apply for by the deadline, and then be selected for. So a really good starting place to look for those scholarship opportunities is Scholarship Universe. That is a portal that we are a part of, in which students can go and just answer a bunch of individual questions about themselves, about their history, about their goals. And it will actually start to match them with different opportunities that are both within NAU and outside of NAU that they can apply for, so that they don't have to go out of their way to search for hundreds of different, private donor scholarships to apply for and keep track of all of them. The Scholarship Universe portal will actually keep track of them for students. They'll end up in a nice little location where you can go back, see which ones you've applied for, see the status of them, and so on. So it's a really good opportunity for students to start looking for those extra financial opportunities. And what I always share with students, especially seniors, senior year is the prime time for you to be applying for those opportunities. So as you're heading into your senior year, I just wanted to let you know that most of these opportunities are going to open in December or January of your senior year, and they're going to stay open until usually about March or April. So it's a really small window that a lot of these scholarship opportunities are open. And that's why I really encourage you to take a look at it, take a look at Scholarship Universe at the very least so you're familiar with what it looks like, log into it, and ultimately start the application process once those scholarships are open, because receiving that extra money from Scholarship Universe scholarship applications, from outside scholarships, from private donors can really help make the difference to help cover portions, again, of your housing, of your meal plan, of all of it, potentially, if you do it right? If you do your research and really make sure that you're following up on those scholarship opportunities, that you're applying at the very least, so that you can really get the most amount of financial support that you can. Another resource that I would like to share with all is the Arizona Community Foundation. That is another great scholarship resource website. So that is available to any Arizona high school student that is pursuing a post-secondary education, regardless of which college or university you're attending. So there's Scholarship Universe, of course, through NAU, but I encourage people to keep looking beyond NAU as well, because there are so many scholarship opportunities out there that go unclaimed every single year. So those are two starting places that I would recommend. I also have more, but you are welcome to reach out to me if you want to know more about it.
Well, we appreciate you sharing all those opportunities. So it's somewhat like shopping for a big screen TV on Black Friday. Don't get turned off by, the retail price and the sticker shock, because you don't know if you're going to get 50%, 70%, 80% off. You really got to shop those scholarships. So we appreciate you sharing those scholarship opportunities with our students and our families. And we appreciate you teeing off the conversation. But we encourage all of them to continue to reach out to NAU and find out more about what it takes to join NAU if you're ready to go be a lumberjack. And we appreciate all of you for tuning in once again to the Education Exchange, where we aim to enlighten our parents and empower our students Appreciate you week after week. Look forward to seeing you next week, and look forward to seeing NAU out at Commitment Day. Thank you.
And that's the end of our show. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, want more information, or would like to be a guest on the Education Exchange, please send us an email at podcast@tuhsd.org. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and tune in next week to the Education Exchange. You can catch all episodes on your favorite streaming devices or directly at www.tuhsd.org/podcast.